Dear students, in the first part of the lecture, we have understood philosophical aspects of curriculum. Now, we will embark on the journey to visualize other aspects of it. Psychological considerations. While deciding curriculum, various factors related to growth and development of learners, their psychological needs, interests, and problems are to be kept in mind. Each area of growth and development, such as physical development, emotional development, social development, and intellectual or cognitive development, are marked by distinguished characteristics. The readiness principle suggests that for learning a particular task or unit, the learner has to achieve a minimum level of maturity. It implies that learning should not be too early, too much, or too fast. However, it must also be noted that readiness to learn does not depend solely on the age and maturity of the child, but also on the learning experiences, school environment, etc. Hence, what the curriculum has to offer and to whom should be decided by taking into account all these factors and their influence on one another. Social considerations. Education of the child is a social undertaking and it is always carried out in a social situation. The social forces in a society also determine the objectives of education. Therefore, it is necessary that while planning the curriculum, we must have a thorough knowledge of those social forces that have a bearing on the educational system of the society. There are several theories that attempt to explain the relationship between the curriculum and the wider social environment. A good curriculum ensures that the unique character and integrity of the society is preserved and the quality of life of social groups is also improved. The social forces influences the decisions regarding what is to be taught and how it is to be taught, what is to be added to or deleted from the existing curriculum to accommodate the changes in the society is also decided by the social forces. Social forces exert their influence on curriculum through different organizations and groups of people operating at regional, national and local community levels. These forces are discussed under four categories: governmental, semi-legal bodies, professional organizations and special interest group operating in a community. Governmental. The government makes policies on education and its curriculum. Direct governmental controls are based on constitutional and statute laws. All policy and decisions affect curriculum planning. These decisions lead to reformulation of objectives of education and reconstruction of curriculum at different levels of education: primary, secondary and higher education. Another means through which the government influences the school curriculum and in fact most parts of the school education is the financial support extended by the central, state and local governments to educational enterprises in the country. Thus, the government is in a position to enforce its rules, regulations and policies regarding curricular activities and experiences to be provided to the students. Semi-legal bodies. These forces are not necessarily created by law. These may be created by voluntary organizations, professional bodies and autonomous institutions. These may include universities and colleges, parent-teacher associations, textbook writers, publishers, philanthropic organizations, mass media, etc. For example, universities and colleges not only influence the curriculum through teacher education but also play a significant role in determining the school curriculum. PTAs are the pressure groups through which community views on curriculum and textbooks are cancelled to school, its board and curriculum planners. Professional organizations. The professional organizations which influence the curriculum to a great extent include teachers and teacher educators associations. For example, National Council of Teacher Education (NCT) is the empowered by the Government of India to design curriculum for teacher education. Special interest group in the community. In every society, there are groups or organizations which promote a particular school of thought or areas of special interest. These organizations may include patriotic groups, cultural and religious organizations, civic groups, and other representing various interests in the community. Economic considerations. Economic consideration basically relate to the practicality of a curriculum. The implementation of a curriculum entails several actions including provision of physical facilities, development of learning materials, and recruitment of untrained teachers. All these provisions involve recurring costs. These costs are borne by the government and also by the community and other institutions. The planners always weigh the cost of providing certain learning opportunities. The alternative modes of providing educational opportunity have varying costs. The curriculum planner has to keep four kinds of cost in mind while proposing a curriculum. These include initial cost, maintenance costs, supplementary costs, and personal costs. Environmental considerations. The environmental includes the physical and social conditions around an individual and institution or a community. The environment is the both natural as well as man-made. Human being survival and sustained development depends on the sensible and planned development and use of the natural resources and the environment. Advancements in science and technology have helped us gain control over the environment and reach unprecedented levels of development. Industrialization, automation, communication, revolution, urbanization, etc. have posed innumerable challenges for human beings. The revolution in communication technology has transformed the world community into a global village. Science and technology have made a tremendous impact on health and hygiene conditions and have been helpful in controlling many dreaded diseases. However, the advancement in the science and technology and consequently their impact on society have also caused serious environmental degradation, depletion of natural resources, expansion of slums, outbreak of new diseases, misuse of new technologies by nations in armed conflicts, etc. The education system through its curriculum should introduce the student with the achievements of human beings. This will enable to learner to carve out a place for himself in the world of the future. The most important function of the curriculum in this context is to develop a concern for the environment, human welfare, and personal morality that will enable the student to use the resources available for the benefit of mankind. The curriculum of sciences, social sciences, and languages can effectively inculcate an attitude of concern towards the environment and mankind and peaceful coexistence of nations, communities, and individuals. Institutional consideration. Institutional considerations are especially taken into account when the curriculum planner is given the responsibility to develop curriculum for an institution. As you know, an institution is a unique subsystem of a society and achieving special institutional objectives. The curriculum planner must keep in mind the nature of institution, particularly its manifest purposes. The institutional purposes will be helpful in the selection of an appropriate procedure for formulation of course objectives and organizations of content, etc. For example, vocational and technical schools are expected to train students for a specific job. Hence, for formulating the objectives of a vocational program, the technique of a job analysis will be used, and these will be helpful in selecting appropriate instructional materials. Similarly, while planning a courses for a specific institution, one has to know that the attitude of the school authorities, particularly of those who are involved in planning and management, towards a discipline, that is attitude towards commercial business education as a whole and towards certain business subjects in particular. Availability of necessary facilities such as library, equipment, staff, space, etc. in the institution should also be considered while taking decisions on curriculum planning in a particular area or discipline. Cultural diversity. Culture, to the sociologist, is a natural term that includes everything that is learned and man-made. Schools are formal institutions specially set up for the preservation and transmission of culture. School seeks to discharge this function through the curriculum, which is the sum total of learning experiences provided through it. Society is now moving away from a homogeneous culture towards diversity and plurality. This shift in trend can be attributed to the following phenomena: diversity in values of lifestyles, renewed interest in ethnic history, development in telecommunication. However, the important features of curriculum development is the way curriculum portrays cultural values. It is also expected that those who fail to respond to such curricular treatment, either because of poor home background or other socio-economic reason, it should be given compensatory education to make up for their cultural disadvantages and deprivation. Hence, we see that social changes have their impact on curriculum planning. As long as a society is dynamic, the debate over the aims of education will stir up changes, which is the sign of a healthy society. Teacher related considerations. The process of teaching is performed by the teacher who transacts a specific curriculum. He is an integral part of the teaching learning system. His functions include interpretation, explanation, demonstration, and guidance in various activities and experience incorporated in the curriculum. Therefore, while planning a curriculum, the planner should consider the teacher related factors as well. Every curriculum will require a certain group of teachers equipped with the appropriate education, training, and experience or to successfully transact the curriculum and to help the students in achieving curriculum's objectives. The type of the level of content and activities included in the curriculum will determine the type of teacher, their level of education, and the kinds of teaching behavior expected of them. Similarly, whether the type of teachers we need are readily available for, or they have to be prepared, or they have to be provided in service training necessary for working teachers for implementing the curriculum, etc., should be the basis of decisions on curriculum planning. Provision of qualified and competent teachers thus is a basic factor to be considered in curriculum planning. Hence, the teacher related factors must be given due consideration by the curriculum planner. Let us sum up. Curriculum is a basic means available to the school for achieving the goals of education. The exercise of curriculum planning is guided by several considerations. Most important among these are the nature of the discipline growth and development of the child, socio-economic background of the country, society, or the school environment around institutional and teacher related considerations. The curriculum should also help in developing a favorable attitude of students towards environment and mankind and should generate a feeling of peaceful coexistence in the family, community, country and the world. Thank you.